you are live.
What an incredibly massive elephant bull. We're going to try to get a better view of him shortly, but we're right on top of a little river system here, and that is one of the biggest bulls I've seen at Djuma, not both body size, and he's also got a nice set of teeth. Hi, my name is Brent. I've got Brian and the Thumb on camera with me today, and we're going to have an amazing sunset safari. Oh, excuse me. I nearly swallowed a fly there. Let's go see if we can get a closer look at that Eddie. He is right down in here. I'm going to see if we can get a view as we come through. He is massive. Hello, big boy. Look at that. He is incredibly big. He's busy feeding off a buffalo thorn. Now that is a bull in his prime. Hello, big boy. I really love big elephant bulls. And he almost looks like he's listening to us. Let's see if we can sneak down the river system towards him. Okay, what a wonderful way to start the Monday sunset safari. And as of course everyone knows, we had quite the weekend of TV shows on Nat.Geo Wild. But we're back doing what we do every day. Isn't that amazing? That every single day we are producing live game drives from the middle of the African bush to you wherever you might be. I wonder if he's in must. He is in must. I can actually smell it. He's secreting from his glands on the side of his head, and there's that sweet smell. Now, probably one of the strangest descriptions of the smell of must I've ever heard is from Willem, one of our cameramen. And in South Africa we have a concentrated sort of a juice that you drink called Oros. And Willem says it smells like off Oros. I don't know how he came up with it, and I've never actually personally smelt off Oros. I thought there was so many chemicals in it it would never go off, but apparently it can. Hey, big boy. Now, his head alone probably weighs half a ton. And he probably weighs about 6 in total. Standing about 3 meters, 3.5 meters at the shoulder. Now we're looking at an elephant, and obviously they leave quite a lot of droppings as they move through the bush. Kyle says he just can't believe Steph actually drank the juice from the elephant dung yesterday. Well, Kyle, you're not the only one. His wife wasn't too impressed by it. But if you had to survive, it would be a very good source of water. Now, you can live without food for over a week, but you won't last long without water, probably less than 2 days, especially out here. Now, we're in the middle of winter, and it's 31 degrees Celsius, 88 Fahrenheit. And it is very still. I mean, there's not a breath of wind. There's not a cloud in the sky. It is just one of the reasons I love living in the Lowveld, where you have warm winters. Now, James is in search of Karula at the moment. She was seen this morning with both her cubs. And we were on our way to go look for elephants, in fact, so we've succeeded in that. And going to leave this big boy to his musings in the river system. I'm a bit worried if we go any further forward, we'll disappear. We are right at the base of this little river, and it looks like he's going to go deeper into it. So we're going to continue our mission towards the Buffels Hook waterhole. And if any of you guys are new and you've joined since the TV shows yesterday, remember you can ask us questions, and you can do that by using the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter, or you can send us an email to questions@WildEarthTV. Now, we had some absolutely spectacular leopard behavior on Saturday. Saturday is Cat Day, of course. Now, we saw young Sindile and his mom, and the first visual ever of Shadow's little cub, who's just over 3 months old now, and it's a little female, and she is absolutely gorgeous. I think I nearly burst with excitement. It was so wonderful. And of course, good old Mvula has been making some returns, popping up here and there, chasing hyenas and being chased by hyenas in turn. Now, I'm sure you all realize why we weren't on safari this morning. We had a little party last night, and we stayed up well beyond our normal bedtimes. Well, some of us at least. Brian and I were there to the very end. The killer bees. Now, I've decided I really want to get some new birds for the bird lists, and there's a couple I'm still looking for. Hi, Jennifer. Jennifer is spot on. Jennifer says Shadow's cub is such a little charmer. I couldn't agree more. I think my heart melted. I think I quite like that little cub. And shh, I like it more than Camilla's cubs, but we won't say that too loudly. Beautiful little female. Very exciting to have the amount of cubs we do at the moment. And of course, we're pretty sure a third Nkahuma has dropped as well. And that's one of the reasons I'm heading up towards the area around Buffels Hook. I'm hoping that this time they've denned on Djuma. Also, those other little cubs are probably getting close to 2 months old now, so we might start seeing them moving about with the ladies. Of course, the last lion cubs we saw on Safari Live had a very tragic end. They were killed by the Birmingham boys as they came in to take over this area from the Matimba males. Now the Birminghams are well set and procreating with all the lionesses, so they've got cubs with the sticks and with the Nkahumas. Now there is always a possibility that some of those cubs might not be theirs, and they've been mated with an interloper, a single male, sort of cruises the peripheries. But I think in this case, I haven't heard of any interlopers being seen, so it's a strong possibility that they all do belong to the Birminghams. Now, very interesting thing, it's never been proved in leopards, but in lions, a lioness can have 3 cubs, and they can all be fathered by different males. So of course, 3 eggs, and it's possible for them to be impregnated by multiple males, so very interesting. That's very interesting. Thank you very much, Jane. Jane says apparently the Styx Pride was seen on Cheetah Plains this morning with their cubs. Well, I will definitely get hold of the Cheetah Plains guys as soon as they're out, and if that is the case and they're still around, I want either James or myself will bomb down there for a quick visit. Hi, Pam. Thank you very much. Pam says, what a splendid Father's Day show that we did yesterday. I agree, Pam. And she said, my dad also sounded very proud of me on Twitter. Well, I'm very proud of him as well. And a lot of my love for the bush stems from a lot of early experiences and early memories with my dad in the bush. He is a true lover of the outdoors and the wildlife. And he goes on game drive every day, twice a day when he's at home. Isn't that incredible? Oh, I'm being bitten by something. Sorry. Oh, naughty ant. And now I can actually say I've got ants in my pants, literally. Well, I try to deal with the ants in my pants. Let's go see Commander Bond, who's steering Rusty this evening.
Good afternoon, everybody, and whoa. David, don't move. Don't move an inch, David. You're in mortal I said don't move, David. You're in mortal danger. There was a locust. David is okay, everybody. My name's James, obviously, and David is on camera. Yes, and you could see how shaky his thumb was there. Rain locust landed on the lens, threatened to eat David's face off. We've come into this area to try and find Karula, the 12-year-old female queen of Djuma, and her little cubbies. They are now 4 and a bit months old. It is the winter solstice, which therefore seems logical that it should be 88 degrees Fahrenheit out here, 31 degrees centigrade. This is the best midwinter I have ever coped with. And we are as live as Brent Leo Smith, believe it or not. I'm not sure why he has ants in his pants. That sounds very, very unpleasant indeed. But we are as live, so please do send through your questions, comments, hashtag Safari Live. You can even email us these days because we're back on the internet. Questions at WildEarthTV, and we shall endeavour to answer any queries you might have or consider any comments you might want to make. Thank you once again to all of you for your patience over the course of our TV broadcasts. I know for many of you during the rehearsals and the lead-ups, it must have been a little bit irksome sometimes because we didn't have a regular broadcasting schedule, but we're back to normal now. Not sure when the next TV will be. Possibly, well, I don't know when it'll be at all. So you're most welcome. Let's go and see what we can find. I did have a brief walk through this block. Apparently the cubs were seen around here this morning with I didn't know that Mum was seen actually. So we're just going to drive very slowly through here, see if we can't spot some tracks. Like I say, it's quite hot today, so we're going to go down towards the water, Treehouse Dam, and see if they haven't perhaps decided that they're a bit thirsty. And there's a little bit of water there as dug up by the elephants, and it's because there's an underground spring there that the elephants quite astoundingly are able to feel with their thick padded feet, which I think is amazing. David, are you all right after the shock of that rain locust?
I'll be all right, James.
Well done. Donna, you, I'm sure, like most of us, were enthralled by the sight of Sindile over the course of the weekend. Now almost 2 years old, grandson of the great Queen. And you were saying that you were noticing from many of the close-ups we got of him while he slept yesterday. He did a lot of sleeping yesterday while he was live. And you say you noticed he had black and white whiskers, and have we ever found a whisker? I don't think I've ever found a whisker, Donna. I'm not sure. I hate to say this, but I'm not sure that if I found one, I'd recognize it for what it was, if you know what I mean. But I didn't notice that about him, I must say. But what I did notice about Sindile is that he's got a pink nose with a very grey tip to the top of it. And whether that was from rehab or whether that's just something he's developed as he got a bit older, I don't know. But I think it's quite a nice identifier. And while one really, really, really doesn't want to ascribe the looks of young leopards to their... I'm really struggling to hear Louise. There we go. Fix it up. Yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry. One shouldn't try and ascribe looks to a particular animal based on her parents or his parents. But I have to say that I think that Sindile's eyes are rather Anderson looking. I don't know what any of you think. And certainly Shadow was seen mating with Tingana and Shadow, at least, and Mvula and Anderson before Sindile was born. We just assumed that he was going to be Tingana's son, but I'm not sure about that. Anyway, time will tell. Now, a nice question about when cubs are able to fend for themselves, but from whom that question came, I did not hear. Minxie. That's no wonder I didn't hear it. It's a very unfamiliar name. Wonderful to hear from you, Minxie. I think you're a new viewer. Great stuff. And thank you for talking to us. Young leopards, well, you can see Sindile is not yet 2 years old, and he's had to become independent. He won't be killing... Apparently he did kill a female impala. That's about the biggest he's killed so far, I think. But he's perfectly able to cope with life on his own. The earliest recorded one we have from this area is a female cub going independent at 8 months. Now that is extremely unusually early. An 8-month-old leopard is nowhere near fully grown. It's about twice the size of the little cubbies we've got now. So that would be the size of a sort of golden retriever, if you like. But you see, because leopards have what we call a very Catholic diet, so they are very, that doesn't mean they eat fish on Fridays. What it means is that they're very prepared to eat just about anything, from termites, you know, to small birds, to fish, to frogs, and up to giraffe in some cases. You know, we know the Anderson male has killed a young giraffe before, and because of that they can become independent probably a lot before many of the other cats can. And so Sindile is, yeah, I mean, he's perfectly able to be independent, and just like with our own species, the men are more reticent about, or the males are more reticent about leaving home than the females are. They like the comfort of their mummies for a bit longer than the daughters do. Right, we've arrived at the great expanse of water that is Treehouse mining operation. We'll just ease our way down here. I didn't see any of our tracks coming across, but there were 1 or 2 difficult spots there where I may have missed them. So let's have a look-see. We'll go up onto this vast wall and peer up the drainage. Now, I'm obviously being entirely sarcastic when I talk about the amount of water that there is here, and that's because, or the reason that it's been dug up like this is because there is a school of thought that says that we're going to have big floods this year. This to me is like trying to predict roulette, but be that as it may, the land managers of the area have decided to fortify these dams and just make sure that if there is a big deluge come the rainy season, that the dams aren't, you know, that they don't disappear. You can see a lot of elephant dung there, and that's because the elephants do dig down to the water surface here. There is water underground here. They don't like that muddy water that's in buffalo dung infested and hippo dung infested water that there is around, say, the Djuma pan. They do like clean water, and so when they can get it underground during the dry season, that is precisely what they'll do. I'm just staring with these powerful binoculars up the drainage to see if I can't see some spots lurking in the shade, but I cannot. Hello, little Gracie, aged 8, all the way from Ohio. Lovely to hear from you again. We haven't been hearing enough of you, Gracie. And you say that you haven't been on TV yet, but you think you're very proud of James and Brent. That's me, of course, and Brent. And you think that maybe we should get an award for the TV performance that we put on. I think that's very kind, Gracie, and I think that you should write to everybody in the United States and petition for exactly that large award, and then we'll come and visit you. Okay, let's continue. I didn't see any dappled spots. In fact, I haven't even seen a heartbeat. So let's head across to Brent, who had an elephant, and see what he's found.
I haven't got any updates from the other game drive vehicles. It looks like there's just James and I out at the moment. So we're going to throw a bit of caution to the wind and head down to Cheetah Plains for that chance of lion cubs. And I know James is just answering, but thank you very much, Gracie. Gracie, they said a wonderful comment to us. I hope we win an award too, Gracie. Thank you very much. So we're on a Cheetah cut line, sorry, which is our eastern boundary, and always a good place to check for the comings and goings of big cats. We did take a swing past the Buffelshoek waterhole. Unfortunately, nothing there at the moment. But it is truly a magnificent day. And not a cloud in the sky. It is just truly, truly crystal clear out here almost. And it's the first day in a while we've had no wind. We've had quite a windy couple of days, which is unusual for this time of the year. This is more like what the middle of winter is supposed to be like. Of course, we are going through a massive drought at the moment. So some of the animals are struggling a bit, but in terms of game viewing, droughts are actually really good. There's, as you can see, no grass for them to hide in. So it also means we might find some of the more fascinating things. I'm really, really, really excited that we might see things like caracal and aardvark. I know Brian's very keen for aardvark. Yes. And we have seen one pangolin. I could definitely do another pangolin. One sec, sorry, I should be on the game drive for a second. Let me just... Ali. Oh, I might be a bit too far to use the Cheetah Plains radio just yet, so we'll try again when we get a bit closer. A huge Safari Live. Welcome to Alex, who's a new viewer. Welcome to the family, Alex. Alex would like to know, how much do leopards eat? Well, if you average it out per day, it's about 2.2 kilograms. Of course, they don't eat every day. They normally eat over every 2 or 3 days. So on average, it's about 2.2 kgs for a female and just over 3 kgs for a male. But they can glut. And they can literally eat probably around 10 or 12 kilograms in a single sitting. They also have a very fast digestive process, and that enables them to start feeding again quite soon. Well, it is still quite warm, which means a lot of the other animals are not going to be moving around too much just yet. Oh, hello, you two. Don't move, don't move, don't move, don't move, don't move. One gone. Let me just try forward a bit. Now, notoriously good at disappearing, these little guys. These ones are being quite nice so far. It's a pair of Steenbok. And so they're not babies. It's an adult pair, and one of the few monogamous antelopes we have out here. They live in tiny little territories of about 2 acres, and they mate for life. Not to say they're not a bit naughty, because if there's another female around the edge or another male, they will also mate with them, but they do stay together for the entire lives. Also, one of the only animals that's not too stressed about the drought. They are completely not dependent on water. If there is water available, they will drink, but they get most of their moisture from dew in the early mornings, and they dig up tubers and things to get water as well. So while we start heading towards Cheetah Plains, let's go see what Mr. Hendry is up to on the other vehicle.
Now everybody, I haven't found you a leopard, I'm afraid, but I can hear some birds alarm calling off over there. I don't think there's a leopard there, but in this bush is a rather spectacular example of a tropical tent web spider. Now you can see the web glistening in this late afternoon sun, and just in the middle of the web you can probably see the spider. There are a few leaves sort of dangled right in the middle, and then underneath that the cryptically coloured brown figure of Mrs. Tropical Tent Web Spider. You got it there, Dave?
Got it.
Right, now what is interesting here is that obviously this looks like the net of a trapeze, sort of in a circus. And so it's not an orb web, it's not sort of a horizontal or vertical, I mean, to the vertical to the plane that an insect might be flying. It's horizontal, and what it does is you can see underneath, I don't know if you can see my hand here, Dave.
Yep.
Underneath here you can see a whole lot of what we call knockdown threads. And so this will catch animals that fly through here. It'll catch animals that hop up from underneath like grasshoppers. And then further up to the top, there are a whole lot more knockdown threads. And what will happen is an insect will fly into these, be knocked down into the trapeze net, and then they will be devoured by that tropical tent web spider. But the intricacy of the web, to me, is absolutely astounding. I think that's fantastic. And there are a few other different kinds of creatures living on this thing. I think that's the female that you've got there. And I spotted a male that has now folded itself up. Dave, I'm going to point with my finger.
Cool.
That there, underneath my finger, there's a little brown dot. See, can you see it, Dave?
Yeah, we got him.
That's the male. That's the male spider. Obviously a lot smaller than the female. So should he fail to satisfy her, he will be devoured. Now, I don't know if the other thing you can see here, if you watch, I'm just going to bump the web slightly. If you watch the female, watch when I touch the web. Oh, now she's not doing it. There. If you disturb the web, what she does is she starts to shake up and down. And that's not just the movement of the branches. That is it makes her look like a kind of dry leaf that's blowing in the wind. So a predator that might want to eat her will be confused and think that she isn't actually a spider. So that is the story of the tropical tent web spider. Now we're going to continue along the road here. We've come away from the water, and we're going to see if we can't find some tracks of her, maybe heading towards her favourite tree. Well, one of her favourite trees is a lovely milkberry tree up there that she sometimes likes to sit in. And by she, of course, I do mean the Queen. Probably should be referring to her as Her Majesty. And thank you to all of you who are agreeing with Gracie so profoundly that we should get awards. Great benefit. Red carpets, limousines, and whatever else comes with such things. Hello, Valeria in Massachusetts. You ask a question. You say, have the little leopard cubs got names yet? Well, Valeria, no, not official ones. And that works where the rangers of the area, so that in this case will be Taxon and Aubrey, who are the guides here at Vuyatela and Galago on Djuma. They will name those two leopards, or they will put forward the Djuma suggestion. We don't have a huge amount to do with it. For the moment, however, I've called them George and Charlotte, after the Queen's great-grandchildren. that's the British Queen's great-grandchildren. Just simply because one's male and one's female, and I think it suits them quite nicely. I've no doubt were the other guides of this area to find out that I'd started calling George and Charlotte, I'd probably have well, some fairly stern messages coming my way. I just think that they're quite sweet names, but they're certainly not official by any stretch of the imagination. We normally will only name them after a year or so, because so many of these cubs, of course, do die. They don't make it. Probably only about 2 in 10 males and about 3 in 10 females. 3 or 4 in 10 females make it to independence. If that. Just very, very difficult lives they lead. David, have you spotted a mammal yet today?
Not yet, Joe.
No, I haven't either. I'm beginning to think that all of our luck was used up by Nat.Geo Smith on the first TV show we did. And I don't know if you caught the TV show, but we had a wonderful time with some new technology with the rover, Ronald the rover, who spent a good time at the waterhole interacting with the buffalo. We used the dam cam quite a lot, and I had control of it with a joystick. And then we had that magnificent microscope, which was just too much fun. Just a brilliant, brilliant addition to what we do here. Now, this milkberry tree that Karula likes to lurk in is around here. I don't see any tracks though. I wonder if she's not still in this block somewhere. I mean, you could spend 7 days walking through there and not see her. So we'll just have a quick look-see here. There's the tree. I'm going to take out my powerful binoculars and see if we can see. Now, Cindy, you say that the animals put on such a good show. Davey, it's that big kind of tree on the termite mound in the block there. Cindy, you say the animals put on such a good show this weekend that they're probably taking a day off and they deserve it. I would agree completely, especially young Cindile, who did a superb job, as did Shadow and her new cub. Not sure what we're going to call that one. I should definitely pick a name before she gets her real name. Nat.Geo Smith, of course, gets slightly irked by my naming of these things, so I think I'm going to pick one very soon. And just go forward. I can't see anything draped in the boughs of that tree. Just go a little bit further forward. I might get another view from here. Yeah, there we go. Let's have a look now. So that's a low-filled milkberry, Manalcara mochisa, so named for the milky latex that comes out of the, well, a little bit out of the sap, but mostly out of the fruit. Very delicious fruit, if you can get it. But I don't see no leopards draped there or lying in the shade of the termite mound underneath. Hello, John. You're a new viewer, which is marvellous. It's great to have you with us. I don't see anything on that tree, I'm afraid, so we're going to continue along here. I'm not sure really how to answer your question, to be honest, but it is wonderful to have you with us. So if I don't give you the answer you're looking for, feel free to send through another one. Hashtag Safari Live, questions at WildEarthTV. You want to know, how do leopards eat? Well, they hunt, John. That's the main thing that they do. And they are sort of ambush predators. So this is where they were this morning, on that termite mound. John, I will get back to you. Give me just a sec. Yeah. You see how that milkberry tree is not a bad option, except that her tracks don't seem to have crossed the road. Anyway, we'll just carry on gently along here. See if we can't spot anything. So, John, they're ambush predators. They'll eat just about anything that they can. Like I said, they'll eat anything from termites to giraffe, but normally sort of small to medium-sized antelope, which is an utterly meaningless statement if you have never seen large or tiny antelope. But we're looking at duiker, which are sort of about 40 pounds worth, steenbok about 30 pounds worth, and impala, which are about what, big male impala about 160 pounds worth. And they are killed normally with a throat grip. So the leopard will leap on them, grab them by the throat so they can't make too much noise, and then suffocate them. Smaller prey they'll grab behind the back of the neck and they break the spinal column with a big swift bite with those massive canines that they have. And that's how they kill. And then they eat. Well, I mean, they just sort of eat, really. I hope that answers your question, John. If it doesn't, please feel free to chastise me severely over Twitter, and I'll do my best to rectify the situation. Beautiful tree up here called a brown ivory, and it's starting to lose its leaves again. See that, Davey? They're going yellow. Let's stop and have a little listen here. Sometimes birds will alarm call. Often birds will alarm call if they see a leopard. Birds like that one there, actually, the fork-tailed drongo, an insect-eating bird, and he's just enjoying the shade here. He's also completely silent, which means that he cannot see a leopard. There he goes. It's all very peaceful out here, I must say. It's a rather, well, it's quite hot. It's not unpleasantly hot, and it's very peaceful. Good time to be out, but I think you'll find that most of the animals are lurking in the deep shade somewhere. This is a good place for them to be. I did notice, I was just saying to David as we came out here, that I think in the last 3 or 4 days actually, the leaves have really started to change colour. And the dominant tree, of course, out here is something called a red bush willow, or combretum. That's one of the... Well, naturally I can't find one now. Very similar to this species here. Not quite the same, but very similar. And they maintain their greenery for quite a long time, compared with most of the deciduous trees. And they've all turned yellow now. So they're going to drop all of their leaves very soon. Hello Michael, age 13, a budding young naturalist. It's great to have you with us, and thank you for sending your question through. You say you were wondering about the different hunting techniques between lions and leopards and cheetahs, but mostly lions and leopards. Well, lions of course are social. They're the only social cats, which means that they are able to hunt in like a team. And so if you've got a pride of say 5 lionesses, like the Nkuhuma pride, who spends most of their time on Djuma here, they do hunt. They're ambush predators, which means they'll get as close to their prey as they can before a short run and then jumping on their prey. Sometimes for lions they run a bit longer than the leopards do, but they can't run for a great distance. Their trick is to get as close as possible, as quietly as possible, and then have one explosive run out at the prey and then grab it. So lions and leopards similar in that way. Lions of course hunting as a team, so sometimes they'll lie in ambush where three of them will go off to one side and 2 others will go to the other side, and they'll chase the prey into the other waiting members of the pride. And so that's quite an effective team way of catching their prey. But others, at least something like a cheetah, is not an ambush predator. It'll get relatively close, but then it needs open space and it will run. It's what we call a coursing predator. So you get an ambush predator and a coursing predator. And to course means to run after something. And basically that's what a cheetah does. It just courses after whatever it wants to eat. And they will run much more than they will than will leopards or lions. Thank you for that, Michael. I hope that we're able to show you a lion, a leopard or a cheetah sometime during the course of the afternoon. Brent has gone off to Cheetah Plains. Now maybe with any luck he'll find you some cheetah there, which would be marvellous. Just going to ease my way along this road, just make sure that the Queen has not crossed south out of our reserve. And of course this road is our southern boundary, and what that means is that we can't go to the right hand side of your screen, but you can see that there's nothing stopping the animals coming and going as they please. Right, speaking of Brent, let's go across to him and find out what's going on at Cheetah Plains.
Ooh, elephants at 3 in a row pound. We've just arrived on Cheetah Plains. Unfortunately, the sticks and cubs went north into Torchwood. I've had a chat to Andrew and he's going to let me know if they start coming south. But there's a big Ellie bull by the looks of things. And we started off with a magnificent individual, and I'm quite excited to see another. Remember, you can ask us questions if you would like, and I'm sure some of you have. If you're new and you're not sure how to, email address is questions@WildEarthTV, or you can use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. Oh, he's on a mission, but he is a beautiful big boy. I don't think quite as big as the last one. What do you think, Brian?
Not as big.
Not as big as his. Oh, he is big though. Nice set of ivory. I reckon, do you hear that, Brian? Calling. Of course, there we go. Doo-doo, doo-doo. Sounds very close to us as well. Let me just reverse here. I think I can hear a ground hornbill, but really, really close to us. Yes, there it is. That I just spotted it through the bush. Well, I'm going to wait for that big Ellie to come through, and then we'll try to get a nice closer look of him. But while he's moving through the bush and we've got that hornbill, looked like it was walking through there. Now, it's one of the more endangered species of bird we get out here. Oh, it looks like he's scurried off. So I'm look a little bit further. Nope, it's made a disappearing act. But we do see them quite frequently down here at Cheetah Plains, so it's always very nice. So I've just heard Andrew has found the sticks and the cubs, and they're probably about 150 meters away out of our traverse zone. So fingers crossed when it gets cooler that they might come for a little visit. Where's that big boy gone? Now, a huge Safari Live welcome to John, who's another new viewer joining us. And great to have you on board, John. Now, John would like to know how much a big Ellie bull like that will actually eat. Chew, he did a quick disappear. That was very fast move. Oh, there he is. Okay, we're going to jump round ahead of him. John, a big bull like that can eat about 250 kilograms of vegetable matter in a day. That is absolutely incredible. I'm trying to do the 2.2, isn't it, Brian?
Yeah.
So 600 pounds, more or less, that an elephant bull will eat in a day. And he'll drink about 100 liters of water, which is, I think, 20 gallons, if I remember correctly. Should be popping up on this other road here. Spot him, Brian. He should be coming out around here somewhere. Is that him there? Now it's amazing, an animal that size can disappear so quickly. There he is. See, sometimes when we're on cheetah plains we get some ellies that aren't that relaxed because they're coming out of the Kruger, and the Kruger area here is a wilderness area. There's no roads, it's not accessible to tourists. Hello, big boy. And I think he might be one of these ellies that's coming from there. He's not looking too bad, but let's just have a quick look at him. Yeah, he's not too relaxed. He's trying to move away from us, so we're not going to go any closer. You can see, we want him to not have any negative connotations with vehicles, so quite happy to just keep a bit of distance from him, and hopefully the next time he'll be nice and relaxed. Hey, big man. Now he's listening to me at the moment, and the other look carefully is pointing his, or trying to very subtly point his trunk in our direction to get a whiff of us as well. Alright, so we're not going to try and stick with him. Rather let him be and carry on being peaceful. Bye, big boy. Okay. Now we're on Cheetah Plains, and of course this is the area where we most see cheetah. And Alex, who's the new guy, getting the hang of this question thing there, Alex. Alex would like to know how many cheetah are left in the wild and how can he help? Well, Alex, in this part of the world, I'm trying to remember now. I think there's about 500 or so in the low veld, and it's the largest meta population, so the populations with the largest genetic diversity. Now, cheetah, unfortunately, have a very improbable chance of living on past the next 5 or even 1,000 years. So it seems like they are a sort of failed arm of the evolutionary tree. They've become so specialized for that speed that they've had to forego a lot of strength and agility to a degree as well. So human beings, of course, have actually helped cheetahs. So about 10,000 years ago, there was a mass die-out of cheetah. Nothing to do with us, but they can, apparently, according to the genetics, they can trace it down to literally there were less than 100 living cheetah. So all the cheetah that have come from those 100. And that is one of the biggest threats that faces cheetah, is that there's not a lot of genetic variation, and especially when it comes to defense against disease. So quite often, a lot of animals, they'll choose a mate based on chemical receptors that say, okay, well, he's got a good, well, obviously size and stuff makes a big role out in animals as well, but he's got an immunity to X, Y, Z, and a male will generally be attracted to a female that has got some of the opposite quality. So if he is immune to let's feline tuberculosis, and she's not, she'll choose him, or vice versa. Now, that's the problem with cheetah. So they've almost all got the exact same DNA. You can take a skin graft from a cheetah here and put it on a cheetah in Iran even. I mean, that's how genetically close they are. And in what terms and what you can do to help, well, probably I'd say the best organization in South Africa that deals with all this type of stuff is EWT and the Endangered Wildlife Trust, and they're probably the best people to get hold of. And they do great work in this area specifically with cheetah and wild dog. My friend, a very good friend of mine, actually runs the wild dog program. There's Ephraim cruising the cheetah plains with a large warthog. Let's just sneak up to the warthog. They can be a little bit skittish from time to time, but this boy looks like he's very relaxed. Big pig. Come down for a drink. You can see he's actually starting to lose a bit of condition. Hips are starting to show, and with quite a lot of animals that's the first sort of sign that they're under a bit of food stress. Now, a lot of animals are having to move big distances between water and food at the moment. And that is one of the biggest problems for a lot of the animals during a drought. Of course, unless you're a predator, then it's a time of plenty. Hello. Hi, F. Sharp and 4, how are you doing? Where have you checked? Okay. Where are you going next? Okay.
You're going to keep it open?
Yeah.
I can get to check this one.
Okay. Okay, thanks, F. Bye, everyone. So there we go, Ephraim from Cheetah Plains. He's off to check the opposite side that we are. And hopefully between the two of us we'll conjure a cat. Hi, James Richard, one of our regulars, is wondering, how do cheetah settle territorial disputes? Well, that's actually, they fight. And I was lucky enough to be witness to the first ever cheetah fight recorded on camera. It was a long time ago in Botswana. That fight went on for 9 hours. 2 different coalitions of 3 males each, and it was incredible. They're just balls of fur, and at certain times they got confused and whacked their own brother, and they were like, oh, wrong cheetah, and then literally they'd fight for 10 minutes, and then they'd lie and growl at each other for 20 minutes, and then start it all over again. So it was really fascinating, and never been recorded before. And normally with cheetah it quite often happens that male coalitions are just much stronger than the others, so there'll be 3 and against 1 or 4 against 2, and they just run. But they will fight. Now, female cheetah are not, and they're far more nomadic than the males, and go over quite a large area, much larger than what the males wander. But in this part of the world, the average male home range is about 70,000 acres. Now, of course, in other parts of Africa, it can be much larger, so where it all depends on prey densities, and so certain desert areas, a cheetah's home range can be 500,000 acres. Now, I really hoping we find some fantastic sightings around. And of course, we've been chatting a little bit about how dry it is, and we are in a drought at the moment. And hi, Anne. Nice to have you here, Anne. Anne would like to know, with the drought, what are the chances of us seeing an eland? Anne, that's a very good question. I think the closest I've ever seen eland to here is about, well, it's not too far, in the Timbavati. Oh, I still think it's very slim, and I'd love to be wrong in this circumstance, but I think the chances are quite slim. I would put it down to a less than 1% chance. But of course, there's always a good chance, and especially around here, that we might see a sable, and that would also be a first for the live drive, and I would be really excited if we did manage to find a sable. But while we go look at what's happening around the open areas of Cheetah Plains, let's go see what Commander Bond's been up to.
So we've come to the very last position that those leopards were seen today. Please excuse me not looking you in the eye, but you are standing very close to the sun, everyone. They were on apparently this termite mound here, or somewhere very close to it. I don't see them there now, even though the sun is glaring into my face. So I think we're going to pack this in for now, to be honest. We're going to just wind our way back down to the road where they were last sort of seen heading. Well, they were seen still on this termite mound. I thought they might go down this way towards the waterhole, but they haven't done that, so they're probably just lurking in the shadows somewhere. It is possible that Karula's killed and come to fetch them and taken them away, but I don't see their tracks anywhere, I must say. Anyway, that is the story of things. So we're going to ease our way down back to the road here. I did a little turn through here on foot, and then Taxon said to me he didn't know that the mother was still here, so possibly just better to check in the vehicle, because if we go in on foot and we just find the babies, we might give them a big fright, and we don't want to do that. They're completely used to the vehicles now. Watch your heads, everyone. No thorns there. Anyway, let's see what happens. Now, if you look around us to the left-hand side, you can see how the leaves have changed colour from the green to the yellow as the season progresses. Now, Janet, you want to know, I think, if leopards can see colour. Is that correct, Louise? They can see their prey in colour. Most of the animals out here are on a spectrum, so you're not either, they're not quite colourblind necessarily. So you're not colourblind or not colourblind, if you know what I mean. You fall onto a spectrum. And there are two kinds of cells that you have in your eyes. Well, there are many different kinds, but there are two that make a difference to your ability to see colour and light and dark. And the ones that are important are called rods and cones. Now, rods are the cells in your eyes that allow you to see light and dark, so different shades and contrast. And the cones, and you can remember this because it begins with C and so does colour, allow you to see colour. And the ratio of rods to cones in your eyes will determine whether or how colourblind you are. Now, animals that are nocturnal, like lions and leopards, or certainly, they're predominantly nocturnal, tend to be fairly colourblind, so they have a predominance of rods in their eyes and not many cones. And animals like us, which see in very glorious technicolor, have more cones in our eyes, but it means we ain't so good at seeing at night time. I mean, you all know how difficult it is to see on a very dark... 1 second. Yeah, nothing to say there. So, if we look at a lion and a leopard, they don't see in black and white. They see in sort of probably shades of green and red. And that's why if you are an impala or a steenbok, which to our eyes are very obvious in these conditions, because they juxtapose that kind of red chestnut color against the green background. It's very easy for us to see. For a lion or leopard who sees in shades of green and red as opposed to color, full color spectrum, they're quite difficult to see. But at night, you'll pick their movement up very quickly if you happen to have more cones in your eyes. So I don't think that they necessarily tell the difference between the color of an impala and a steenbok or a duiker. But it'll be different. I mean, a little bit like you watching a black and white film, where you can tell if something's lighter or darker than something else, but not necessarily what color it is. Does that give you an idea, Janet? Right, we're going to pack this up and we're going to go back towards the north of the reserve, towards Sydney's Dam, and see what we can pick up there. I haven't seen a mammal. We will find one. And Aaron, you're interested in whether black-backed jackals are active during the day. Black-backed jackals are active largely crepuscularly. That's a good word to say in the morning when you want to warm your lips up. Crepuscularly. And that means they're active dawn and dusk most of the time. Not so active in the middle of the day like this. And you know, it's been a hot day. I mean, really unusually hot for this time of the year, and I suspect quite strongly that there's a big front going to hit us probably tomorrow and really cool us down. And yeah, so they won't be active much now. We're still hoping that those lovely side-striped jackals that have been lurking around the sort of northern reaches of the reserve are going to hang around there. We haven't seen black-backed jackal pairs on Djuma for some time. But maybe Brent will be lucky as he traverses the great plains of Cheetah Plains. I did see a steenbok here when I was on foot, but it ran away. That's the only mammal I've seen in just over an hour now, I think, that we've been out here. Other than David, of course. David is a mammal. Very nice new hat you have on, David. Does it have a story? No story to David's rather impressive floppy blue hat. It's a pity. It'd be nice to have a story given the lack of animals that are out here. We might have to resort to looking at bushes fairly soon. Or a dung quiz. You always know that we're hacking for content when we do a dung quiz, everyone. We may even have to do an impossibly hard tree quiz. There truly is nothing out here. Oh, that's a great piece of information coming through from Ginny. Thank you, Ginny. You say tomorrow is World Giraffe Day. Unsurprisingly, I had no idea it was World Giraffe Day tomorrow. Did you know that, Dave? You didn't. Pity. You say, could we discuss their humming and perhaps their brain size and their gracefulness? Well, I can certainly discuss the first bit. They don't really hum so much as they make infrasonic rumbles in much the same way that an elephant does. And they're inaudible to the human ear because we have ears that are not particularly tuned into very low frequency sound. But if you live in thick bush like this, a low frequency call is the kind of call that's going to get you the best results. It's the call that's going to travel the furthest. So, keeping an eye out here. So they make a low frequency call much like an elephant does. They also will make loud groaning noises if they're in serious distress. I've heard them do that, and that's a really horrible sound. And then their brain size, well, they don't have an enormous brain proportionately. I mean, they've got a proportionately the same size brain as most of the herbivores out here. But Ginny, there may be some part of the giraffe's brain anatomy that I don't know about that you do. So please send through an indication if you think I'm missing something. We had a wonderful experience over the weekend. Of course, we have a giraffe skull that lives in the camp that we live. And in its brain case, in the spaciousness of the giraffe's cranium, live a little swarm of stingless bees. and they have provided us with astonishing entertainment, climbing out into the microscope lens. Just beautiful stuff. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to kind of one day have the microscope on the vehicle like that, and then we'll be able to show you that sort of thing from sitting here. Right, marvellous stuff. Brent Leo Smith is finding all the mammals today. He has some more mammals.
On our way towards the Cheetah Plains Pan, we noticed this big herd of buffalo, and it looks like they're going to come drink. So we've been waiting here a little bit, probably about 5 or 6 minutes, because they were in some really thick bush. We could just hear them making lots of noise, and they're a little bit nervous. But I think the will for thirst is going to overtake them shortly. But they're not the only creatures that are here, but they're definitely the biggest that are on their way towards the waterhole. It is so quiet at the moment. I mean, there's literally not a breath of wind. Now, I hope you guys are ready and with your screenshots, because I think as those buffalo get closer and they get a little bit more excited, they might make some beautiful dust, and very good for photography. Not very good for your camera, but it makes a nice pretty picture. Hello, Janet, who's in Baltimore. Janet would like to know, what species would I consider a keystone species in our Traverse area? Well, we're looking at one of them, Janet. Big herds of buffalo are very important. Another one would be elephants. Of course, all the predators. Everything changes when you remove any species. But in terms of keystone species that actually change the environment around them, buffalo is a very important one. Now, these big herds, as they march, they disturb the soil. They actually end up putting or planting grass seeds to a degree as they till the soil. They're also large mobile fertilizing units. So the amount of dung that comes out of a large herd of buffalo is full of nutrients and very, very good for the plant species, in particular grass, to grow. Now, they've probably had to move quite far to find enough food, and now they're coming for the water. I don't know if you could see there as she snorted a bunch of flies. Now, the one sometimes quite irksome thing about looking at big herds of buffalo is you collect a few of their flies when you move on. Well, it's difficult to see how many there are, but I'm not sure if it's a very big herd. I'd say there's at least 100. But we have been seeing some very big herds. I think I saw a herd here that was close on 500, 600 a few days ago. I could be nervous. You never know. There could be lions around. And you see, once one sort of gets excited and into the water, it might prompt the others to move a little bit quicker. Hey, buffaloes. It's okay. What are the zebra looking at? You see that, Brian? Behind us. The zebra is staring into the bush. I'm just trying to see what they're looking at. They're all facing one direction, looking to the edge of the bush there. So once you finish with these buffalo, definitely worth going to have a little look-see around where those zebra are looking. These buffalo are taking their time, moving quite slowly at the moment. Not the biggest herd we've seen, but still awesome to spend time with these incredible bovids. Now, in this part of the world, buffalo constitutes one of a lion's favorite meals. Now, in certain places in Africa, like where I was in Botswana, the best way to find the lions was to find the closest big herd of buffalo, and they would be somewhere behind them. During the dry season in Botswana, you can get herds of 2,000 or 3,000, and the lions literally camp out on those buffalo. So, unlike here, where there's quite a lot of water around, in Botswana, and specifically the area I was in, there was just the one river, and it was incredible amount of animals on there. Now, during the wet season, the rainy season, you wouldn't get these big herds of buffalo. They would all be far away in the Mapanis. But as soon as the water dries in the Mapanis, the buffalo herds were forced onto the river. I'm quite nervous. So it could be coming in from that wilderness area in Kruger. Maybe they've been harassed by lions overnight. But I think I just want to go have a quick look where those zebra are looking. They haven't changed where they're looking for quite a long time. And it could be the cheetah. It also could be Kanyini. This is also her territory. And Kanyini's a female leopard, if you're not sure. I think Ephraim's also doing the same thing. We've both been watching the zebra and we thought, something's up. So if those buffalo are a little bit nervous because we're there, it is a drought. I'd rather move away, let them drink. And we don't want to put any pressure on the poor creatures. It's enough already. So I look very carefully over here. And those zebras were staring. Now, cheetah don't really pose a threat to zebras, and neither do leopard. They're a bit big, although I have seen leopard take zebra foals before. And zebras can be incredibly violent. And they're up to something. Oh, this female at the back is massively pregnant. You guys can run, I'm not. I'm still just checking the opposite side to the zebras while you guys look there. I can't see anything. This is a wonderful little area here. It's one of my favorite parts of our whole traverse zone. As we head down towards the area around Buff Pan, it is beautiful. You know, that red soil, you've got this wonderful little river system with leadwoods and large knobthorn trees. And I'm really, really hoping that female leopard, who's got 2 cubs as well, is in this area. She really likes this area. But while we go check what's going on here, James has got, I think, the same bird we decided he was like, or it would, if James was a bird, he would be this specific bird species. So let's go have a look.
The only person who decided that was Brent Leo Smith, and that's because Viam described him as a hardy-dar, which, of course, if you don't know, is the noisiest bird in possibly the universe. Everyone, this is a crowned lapwing, the only creature that we can show you at the moment. I think it's a rather impressive bird. It eats largely termites, and we were talking earlier, remember, about coursing predators versus ambushing predators. Them long legs that this bird has are used for coursing after their prey. So, I mean, although their prey are largely termites. Ooh. Yes. Does that feel better? Good. You can see them running there, and they will sort of trot across the ground, and then they pick things up, and they're designed for coursing. They're designed for running across the ground. And if you look there, the bottom right foot, as he lifted it up, let's wait for him to stop. There we go. See that? He's got no back toe, only the 3 forward-facing toes. And those 3 forward-facing toes just allow him, much like an ostrich actually, to run very effectively on the ground compared with a normal perching bird, which obviously has the toe at the behind for perching, or sometimes 2 toes behind. I think he's rather a special fellow, this, the crowned lapwing. We did see some buffalo, everybody, so we haven't been totally mammal-free. It was just at the same time that you were having a better buffalo sighting with Brent, so we left them. And instead we found you the crowned lapwing. I can hear the collective cheer from around the world as our lapwing makes his TV debut. Can you hear it, David?
Roaring, James.
Roaring crowds of appreciation. Oh, there's another one. 2 crowned lapwings in one place. Our luck, our cup runneth over. There's another one coming out to the front and right of us, David. There. Behind that stumpy thing. See that bent tree?
Yes.
Just behind there. Hiding. Our cup not quite running over just yet. Right, let's carry on. Did you enjoy that sighting, David?
It's fantastic.
Fantastic crowned lapwing sighting. Possibly the best yet. We're now heading towards Sydney's Dam, everyone, to see if we can't pick up some desperately thirsty animal coming down to have a drink. Maybe a big herd of elephants. That would be nice. I hope that Brent's zebras, which were staring into the bushes, are perhaps staring at, yes, maybe in Kanyani or a cheetah. You just see on the road here, Darby, there's something being dragged along the road. It just looks a little bit regular, like it may have been dragged along the road by, a bush being dragged by a car by mistake. But it could be something else. Let's see if we can find some hyena tracks, maybe leopard tracks. So if you don't know what a drag mark is, it's basically, well, it's a mark left by something being dragged. This is not. This is definitely a drag mark of not a car pulling something. So often, especially hyenas will pick something up and they'll drag it along to sometimes to the den, sometimes not. So we'll follow along where this thing goes, and we'll keep you posted. Head back to Brent and get an update from him.
Wow, exciting drag marks. And that, when you find drag marks, it's always a really good chance, if the hyenas haven't stolen it, that you're going to find a leopard. So fingers crossed. Well, this is that area I was telling you about that I just find so beautiful. It's literally just one of my favorite spots in our Traverse area. And beautiful big leadwood trees. And leadwoods are definitely one of my favorite trees. Now, it's called leadwood because the wood is so hard. Now, here's a beautiful one here. Now, if you had to drop a log of leadwood into the water, it would sink to the bottom. a non-floating tree, this one. And if I was a leopard, I'd definitely choose to live around here. Lots of impala normally. So I have a quick look here. This is the direction those zebras were staring so intently. See if we find any tracks. Now, of course, this area is going to have underground water, and what you see over there is a solar panelled water pump. You can always tell where there's underground water out in the bush by the different trees. Oh, hello. It's an elephant. Beautiful gardenia. Is it one elephant or is it more than one elephant? I think we should investigate. Looks like a young bull from here. So he could be on his own. Another beautiful tree, jackalberry or African ebony. Hello, mister. Oh, you're a bit older than I thought you were when I first saw you, but still not massive. Mid-20s. Hey. He's just stopping listening to us, and he's deciding that he doesn't like us. Oh. No, he's just finished eating that one bush he was on. So I'll move a little bit further forward. So I just... Oh no, it's a stick. I saw something back there that really got my attention. Oh look there, there's a big bottom. Oh, hi Nigel. Nigel's in the United Kingdom. Nigel would like to know, sorry, I'm just heard something. No, my ears playing tricks on me. Sorry about that, Nigel. And Nigel wants to know if the solitary ellies are there by choice or they're pushed out of the herd. Well, adult bulls like this, it's generally by choice. And even if they are solitary, there could be another bull within a kilometre. Remember, they can talk to each other for vast distances with those low rumbles. So he might not be alone, but he might just be a little bit far from his friends. But young ellie bulls that you find alone have been pushed out of the herd. But it is the beginning of their sort of solitary existence. I'm going to try and get around so we can have a look at his face. There's one Madoran dove just to the south of Buff Pan. I'm loving the amount of elephant bulls we're seeing at the moment. Well, he's hiding behind the Peltiforum, or the weeping wattle. It's just so still today. He's just managing to keep himself in a spot. I think I'm going to get a better view if I just come down here now. Oh, you're going to shake your head. Yes, we're very scared. We're very big. I'm sorry, mister. There we go. Back to eating. Try and move. There we go. We're just going to try to roll forward a little bit. It's okay, mister. There we go. Hi, Tony. Tony's got quite an interesting question. So She watched a documentary about elephants being able to tell how many lions are approaching them via their feet. Now, I've heard lots of these things over the years, but as far as I know, it hasn't been scientifically proven. Tony was wondering about that. So, as far as I know, there we go. There's a beautiful image of an elephant's foot. I've never found any conclusive proof that they are able to tell what's approaching through the vibrations or through the ground. I think more likely they'll be able to tell by smell. They have an incredible sense of smell, and probably by hearing as well. So there's the elephant's back feet. It's smaller feet. The front feet are quite a bit bigger and a slightly different shape. Fortunately, this guy's feet are behind the bush. What a magnificent creature. I definitely feel a special bond with Ellies, particularly the bulls. They're just so massive, and if you treat them with respect and that, they're so gentle. And he could literally flip our car and throw it away, and yet he just carries on munching away. Hey, big boy. Well, I'll let him continue to munch on his bush willow evening snack. And of course, Ellies need to munch all the time. And they probably feed out of all the animals for the most hours a day. What comes when you're that big, you've got to keep eating. Now, I think I could not have asked for a more beautiful afternoon to explore this little corner, and we've got to it as the light sort of hitting the spot. I mean, look at this. I'm going to show you now quickly. Look at that, the light coming through this beautiful big gardenia tree. They didn't flower this year, which I was quite sad about. They got wonderful white and yellow flowers, but hopefully they'll flower as soon as we get some rain. While we continue to check this exquisite part of Cheetah Plains, let's go see how James's tracking is going.
Now we've had some very exciting news, everybody. We're heading down towards an area called Gowrie Cutline. Now that is to the sort of middle side of Djuma, basically on the eastern fringes of the Mulwati drainage line where it crosses into Djuma. That's just up ahead here, and the reason we're rushing there is that Sindile's collar just pinged. Now what that means, well, first of all, Sindile, for those of you who don't know, I know we have some new viewers as a result of TV. Well, probably you do know who he is because you were watching TV, but he's a just under 2-year-old male leopard who had to be removed from the area because he caught a rabid dog, and for the first time ever they inoculated him, put him in quarantine for 6 months, and they've just re-released him, and he's come back into his natal territory, or the territory into which he was born, and he's wearing a radio collar so that they can monitor his progress. That collar just pinged to the guy who's got it, which means that it gave a reading as to where he is. Now the collars are notoriously inaccurate. Well, not inaccurate, they pinpoint exactly where he was, but whether he's there now, we don't know. But we're going to quickly go down and have a look. It's just down here. So this is the Biffles of Cutline. It's the northern boundary of where we're allowed to go. In the dip there is the road. We're going to turn to the south, and he should be somewhere around there, or he might be somewhere around there. And that's the idea. There's another buffalo on the road. We've seen impala and elephant now, and steenbok. It's been a really abundant time. Let's just roll gently down the road. I mean, now this leopard, if he's moving, could be anywhere here. It has been a hot day. He certainly didn't do much moving yesterday, so maybe he's around. This is the third breeding herd of buffalo we've seen now. It's a small breeding herd, and I mean, I've only described it as a breeding herd because there's one female over there. hanging with the dudes. We're not far from where that leopard is, so just have a quick look at her. She's hanging around with 3 or 4 bulls. It's not that unusual. We do sometimes see that, and sometimes the herds do fragment and a cow will go off with a couple of the bulls. It's a safe place to be for her, especially if she doesn't actually have a calf. Very large, beefy. Right, let's carry on. Now, James Richard, a very good question from you as we drive along, and hopefully we're going to see young Sindile. You say, has his rehab had any, I always think it's amusing using the term rehab, but has his rehab had any noticeable change on his behavior? Does he behave in the same way that other leopards his age might? I can't see that it has, you know. He's used to the vehicles. He certainly, apparently the first few times he saw a car, he was a bit skittish, but at other times he's been absolutely fine, totally relaxed around the car, so that's been no different. He'd still be in his mother's territory, so that's what he's doing now, just kind of skirting around where his mum's territory is, so that's pretty normal. I think he's probably wandered a bit further than a male leopard of his age might. You know, as he's kind of re-establishing where he is. But that interaction with his mother the other day was just unbelievable to watch. She wasn't impressed to see him, but it seemed to me, I don't think he showed any sense of aggression, and I don't think that he, I've no doubt that she thought he could kill her new young cub, but I don't believe that he had any such intention. I just think he's a fairly lonely, confused fellow, but I think he's going to get on fine. Right, now it could be anywhere here, everyone, so keep a lookout. It has been a hot day. He could be inside the drainage line there, but he might be just in the sort of fringing shade. Alright, while we're looking and scouring the land, let's go back to Brent and get an update, and if we find Sindile, we'll come straight back to you.